And welcome to the New London Firelands Festival here as we got the truck and tractor pull action ready to go for you here tonight. But before we get tonight's action underway, we'd ask that you all please rise. And we do have a prayer here tonight from Harvey Burton.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you. Thank you for you today. We acknowledge you as the Lord of life. And we're always concerned about safety, Father, so we just ask that we all have a safe time tonight. Our pullers and all their crew and families, our OSTPA staff, and you fans, the fans here, Father, just keep them all safe and easy and a good ride home. In Jesus' name, amen.
And now performing our national anthem, Stacy Gregory.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ran clear, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, another nice round of applause for Miss Stacy Gregory here tonight. Great rendition of that national anthem as we are just about ready to go here tonight. We want to thank you fans for coming out. A beautiful, beautiful Labor Day evening, and what a great way to cap off a great weekend with some great tractor truck pulling action. As my name is Dan Mayer, I'll be your announcer here tonight. I come to you out of Floyd's Knobs, Indiana, just outside the Louisville area. As we are ready, we can hear the big machines fired up in the background. Now we're going to run 4 classes of competition here tonight. Of course, the sanctioning body here, the OSTPA, the Ohio State Tractor Pullers, one of the longest running organizations in the world as far as tractor truck pulling action goes. As we bring out our first competitor out on the track, going to be the Phoenix. Now these are the super modified 4-wheel drive trucks. Supercharged engines up on top. You're looking at it right around that 25 to 3,000 horsepower with these trucks. As looks like going to be our test puller here tonight, going to be the Phoenix truck of Don Carlisle is going to get us rolling here tonight. So Don Carlisle, our test puller here in super modified 4-wheel drive competition. Now these trucks will weigh in at a maximum weight of 6,500 pounds. And all the classes in pulling are determined by weight, and that is a maximum weight. So now as we take a look at our track here tonight, 360 feet will be the full pull mark out here. You'll notice the white lines each side of the track. Any portion of that pulling vehicle touches those white lines, you will be disqualified. So great competition here tonight as we've got Don Carlisle on the starting line, ready to get things underway here in super modified 4-wheel drive. So as we take a look here at our lineup for the 4-wheel drives, looks like we got about 8 entries here. Is going to spot the sled over here on the right-hand side to get us started. You got little ones out there. Let's get some earplugs in their ears because it's going to get loud. Oh, great run right there to get us started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them a nice round of applause as Don Carlisle and the Phoenix, our test puller. Now he's got to make an important decision. As our test puller, he will have that option whether to take or turn down that run. Now The sled setting is set right, and whether or not that Don was happy with that run. So we'll get the distance in here at 3:01.84. 3:01.84 will be the distance there, and we'll see whether or not he was happy with that one. But fans, another nice round of applause to get us started here tonight. Now, we do want to remind you, we do have the official OSTPA souvenir stand located on the opposite side where I am, and all kinds of good stuff over there. Make sure you do check them out. Grab yourself a nice souvenir, as they do have hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts available. Also have earplugs as well. If you didn't bring any earplugs, as you can see, it's going to get loud here tonight. So make sure you do have some earplugs for the little ones out there. So head on over to the official OSTPA souvenir stand here tonight as we take a look here at our Mack Trailer pulling track here tonight. Of course, great sponsor there, Mack Trailer, sponsoring the pulling track once again here. So 3:01.84 will be the distance, and he did take that run, and he is happy with that. So we are officially underway here in Super Modified four-wheel drive competition. As we said earlier, a great class here, of course, brought to you by SCS Gearbox, the Super Modified four-wheel drive class. And as we take a look here at our lineup, looks like we're going to have Austin Albrecht up next here, the fully justified. He'll be followed by Doug McKee's Black Widow, and then Ben Wildman, the Wild Warrior, will be our next three trucks coming up here in Super Modified four-wheel drive. So once again, fans, we want to thank you for coming out here to the New London Firelands Festival here. Great Labor Day weekend. We hope you fans had a great weekend. Of course, the weather was just absolutely perfect. One of the nicest weekends we've had all year. It's been hot and humid and a little bit cool here this weekend. Great weekend. And what a way to cap it off here with some great tractor and truck pulling action here in New London, Ohio. Of course, we got a couple sponsors we'd like to thank here as part of the OSTPA circuit for 2025. The OSTPA circuit is presented by Unleaded 88. And, of course, go under the PPL rules. The Pro Bowling League out of Brownstown, Indiana, follow all their rules and regulations. Also like to thank Hot Shot Secrets, ARP, Summit Racing, and Mack Trailer for their sponsorship here with the OSTPA circuit. So Austin Albrecht will be our next puller up here in Super Modified four-wheel drive competition. We talked about we've got four different classes here tonight. We'll start off with the Super Mod four-wheel drive trucks. And we got that good-looking Chevrolet making its way out on the track. They'll be followed by the Wild and Woolly. We got the mini rods here tonight. We also got the Pro Stock Smokers here, as well as the modified tractors. So great show for you fans here tonight. As right away we'll get back at it here. As once again, Don Carlisle, our leader here in Super Modified four-wheel drive competition, is Austin Albrecht up next here with the fully justified entry, that Chevrolet. And it looks like he's going to move that sled over. Now, fans, each competitor has that option where you put the sled on the track. You can put it anywhere you'd want between those white lines. That starting line area will start to tear up as the night goes on. And we'll see what the fully justified has got for us here. Looks like he's got it over on that left side. Here we go. What do you fans think? Did he get that 1958 Chevy? That's the one that leads the class. Don Carlisle with that 58 Chevrolet leading the way out of Cardington, Ohio. And a good run there for Austin Albrecht and the fully justified. Once again, another Chevrolet. Good mix of trucks here tonight, filling in our Super Modified four-wheel drive competition. So we'll get it in here at 284 and 63. 284, 63. Now, fans, going to be measuring with a laser here tonight. Laser set up at the end of the track. We'll shoot the laser at the starting line as well as at the finish line. And we will measure, if we do need to go up to a 1,000th of a foot. But right now, we're just at that 100th of a foot mark there. So 284.63 will be the distance here for Austin Albrecht with the fully justified. Well, fans, he's got it shut down. Let's give a nice round of applause here. Good run, as we'll put him here number 2 out of our 2 trucks we have ran here so far in Super Modified four-wheel drive competition. As looking at the lineup here, looks like Doug McKee going to be up next with the Black Widow. Then Wildman's Wild Warrior will follow. Then Evan Pierce with the Stormer. Going to be our next 3 Super Modified four-wheel drive trucks. Of course, we got some great sponsors here for this event here in New London that we've got to thank. Of course, the folks from the Buckeye Express Car Wash, Eric and Ashley Bilton, for their support here this weekend, as well as Deppen Farms for helping out everything here with this pull here this weekend. So once again, everybody chasing Don Carlisle, that 1958 Chevrolet, the Phoenix, at 301.84. He was our test puller, laid down that really good run. Of course, he did have that option to take or turn down that run. He says, hey, it was good for me. We're going to take it. So we are underway officially in this class, as we will bring Doug McKee up to the start line here with the Black Widow, our next truck here in super modified four-wheel drive competition. And, of course, the Pro Pulling League, the sanctioning body here for the OSTPA circuit. Now in its 19th season, the Pro Pulling League continues as the world's largest truck and tractor pulling sanctioning body, featuring 250-plus sessions of competition across 20 states through the Champions Tour, the Hartz Diesel Silver Series, the Champion Seed Western Series, AP1 Insurance Midwest Region, and their member states. And for the latest news from the Pro Pulling League, stay tuned at propulling.com and follow us on social media, our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram, the YouTube channel as well. All kinds of great goodies on there as well. If you want to see some great vintage action with the Pro Pulling League, make sure you do check out their YouTube channel, as they offer exciting tractor and truck pulling action from past events there on the YouTube channel. And of course, we got to thank the folks from Hot Shot Secrets for their sponsorship. They are the main sponsor for the Pro Pulling League for 2025. So the call goes out to Doug McKee with the Black Widow, as he will bring it up here to the start line. Now, fans, you take a look out on the track. You'll notice our track crew, they're going to do their best all evening long to try to keep this track as even as possible. As you take a look, we've got the scraper out there as well as the roller. We'll scrape that track, we'll fill the holes in, and then we'll pack it down nice and tight. And like we say, trying to keep it equal for all the competitors as they make their way down the track. So there we hear the Black Widow firing up here. Now, he comes in here tonight, number 4 currently in the OSTPA points with that machine. So Doug McKee out of Upper Sandusky, Ohio here with the 2000 Dodge. Big Hemi underneath the hood of this truck, fans. We got any Dodge fans out there tonight? Where's our Dodge fans? And yeah, he's going to stand it up, backing it up here through the back of that weight transfer machine here tonight. So the Black Widow Dodge, of course, 6,500 pounds. Now, you'll notice on these four-wheel drive trucks, fans, they'll have about 75% of that weight out front of these trucks. Now, the back of them, as you can see right there, they lift them right up. You could have 2 guys lift it and turn it around in the back. They use the weight transfer machine to keep the back of that truck down, glued to the ground. So let's see what the Dodge has got for us here tonight. What do you think, Dodge fans, as we are throwing the dirt here tonight? Great run for that big Dodge out of Upper Sandusky, Ohio. And as we said, comes in here number 4 here in OSTPA points. He was the 2023 Rookie of the Year. And boy, he's going to challenge there for that number 1 spot. Great run there. And fans, 307.85. We've got ourselves a new leader. All right, how about it, Dodge fans? Let's put our hands together for him. As Doug McKee, that Black Widow Dodge, will take over that number 1 spot. Great run for Doug here tonight, as we'll put Don Carlisle Chevrolet in that number 2 spot, the Phoenix, at 301.84, and then Austin Albrecht with the fully justified Chevrolet at 284.63. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is the official fuel additive of the Pro Pulling League, and is the strongest diesel injector cleaner on the market. Trusted by thousands, Diesel Extreme is a complete 6-in-1 fuel additive that cleans and protects your injectors while boosting your fuel's cetane by 7 points to give you that extra horsepower, torque, and fuel economy that we all want. A top quality product with proven results. Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme brings your engine back to life. Available nationwide at O'Reilly Auto Parts, Advance Auto Parts, AutoZone, Walmart, Amazon, and online at hotshotsecrets.com. So a great run right there for the Black Widow and Doug McKee, as we've got a new leader here in super modified four-wheel drive. As we keep things rolling along here tonight, as Ben Wildman, the Wild Warrior, going to be up next here. And another good running machine here on the OSTPA circuit. Seen this truck earlier in the season win his big win over in Mount Gilead, Ohio a couple months ago. And let's see if he can back it up here tonight with another good run. So we'll bring Ben Wildman to the starting line here out of Cedarville, Ohio. 2014 Chevy Colorado. And you got to take a look at the wrap on this truck. I'll tell you, as they bring it out on the track here, take a look at this beauty right here. As they're going to tow him right out on the track here, and then we'll get him fired up. Now he's going to move that sled, fans, all the way over here to the right-hand side. Now we just saw our leader, Doug McKee, over there on the left side. And so we're going to try something a little bit different here with the Wild Warrior. Going to move the sled over here to the right side. As we said earlier, it's every competitor's option where they go here on our pulling track. Of course, once again, we'd like to thank the folks from Mack Trailer for sponsoring our Mack Trailer pulling track here tonight. We've also got our Farm Credit finish line down there as well, our Schaefer Oil entry area. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of our other sponsors here for the OSTPA circuit for 2025. So going to back in that Wild Warrior truck there, the 2014 Chevy Colorado. Out of Cedarville, Ohio, Mr. Ben Wildman. As you'll see here, we'll back into that weight transfer machine, and you'll see the crewman come out there and get that truck fired up. Of course, all that big horsepower here tonight. We're talking about at 25 to 3,000 horsepower here with these blower trucks. Of course, very popular class here with the OSTPA circuit. It's one of these classes that you really don't see a whole lot throughout the United States here, these super modified blown trucks. And boy, what a beauty they have here in Ohio. This class just so popular, and good to see them out here in competition. So Doug McKee, our current leader at 307.85 with the Black Widow Dodge. Everybody chasing him right now as we will set up on our track here tonight. We'll have that Kale Marketing leader flag. That will set up down at the end of the track, fans. Take a look at that white flag. That will signify our lead distance in each and every class. So we got the Wild Warrior fired up down there as Ben Wildman out of Cedarville, Ohio. Farmer by trade and looking to take over that #1 spot here tonight. What do you say, Chevrolet fans? How about it? Oh, yeah, the big Chevrolet working its way into the middle of the track. I don't know. Going to be awful close to taking over that #1 spot, but I think going to be just a little bit shy here as we'll wait officially on the measurement here. But nonetheless, a good run for Ben Wildman here with the Wild Warrior. Fans, let's give him a nice round of applause as we'll get the numbers in here. And yeah, going to take over that #2 spot at 302.63. 302.63 for the Wild Warrior, as we'll put him in that #2 spot behind Doug McKee with the Black Widow. So once again, we got to thank some of our local sponsors, Janata and Herner, also Fawcett Tax and Accounting, Blake Sanitation, New Era Resurfacing, Thomas Tech, also the Pizza House, Key Profit Solutions, Real Estate Connections, Andy Suver Auctioneer, as well as Kent Water Sports and BCU Electric. Some of our local sponsors helping out to make this event here at the New London Firelands Festival. Who's our sled tonight?
Josh Morgan.
Josh Morgan? Okay. All right, fans, so as we see the track boss making its way back to the starting line, it's going to be operated by Josh Morgan here tonight. And Josh, one of the best in the business, getting all that high horsepower shut down. Now, for those fans watching on the live stream here tonight, the free look-in on Facebook and YouTube, we're going to end that after our next vehicles. For those fans that are watching out there throughout the world on Full Pull Live, the free look-in, we are going to end that preview here after this next truck makes its way down the track here tonight. So Evan Pierce and the Stormer are going to be up next here. And another one of those long-running trucks here in the OSTPA circuit as they come in number 2 spot here in the points. And it looks like Steve Barker will follow with the live wire. Then Guy Shingleton, the shotgun red, will be our next 3 up here in the super modified 4-wheel drive competition. Now it looks like going to move that sled back over towards the middle part of the track here just a little bit, as we saw Ben Wildman take over that number 2 spot with his great run. So we're going to move that sled over just a little bit more. Really, nobody's really kind of following anybody out there, which is kind of unique. Usually you'll find a good lane out there and everybody will kind of use that until it kind of goes away. But here tonight, everybody kind of trying some different things out there, as we will bring Mr. Pierce to the starting line here. So Doug McKee, the Black Widow, our current leader here in the super modified 4-wheel drive competition, at that run of 3:07.85. Now he's got about 5 feet or so out there in front of second place, and we'll see if any one of these last trucks, I'll tell you, they can all do it. That is for sure. Very close competition with this class here, the super modified 4-wheel drive. So number 2 in OSTPA points, that Chevrolet, of course, the Pierce family for so many years, out of Mount Gilead, Ohio. 1997 Chevrolet. And I'll tell you, they've been pulling a long time. Back 1992 was their first year they ran with the OSTPA circuit. The former past puller of the year and a 5-time OSTPA champion. Fans, if you're looking for one to watch, this is it right here, as Evan Pierce backing in. That good-looking Stormer 1997 Chevrolet. All right, slack out of the chain, no jerk starts and pulling. You must start with a tight hitch, and we are ready to go. Let's see if that Chevrolet can beat that Dodge. Oh, yeah, how about it, Chevrolet? Getting a hold of that track here, and I think that track is going to get better and better as this night goes along. Those big tires will churn it up, and we will see these competitors out there at the end of the track. Great run for Evan Pierce here tonight. Once again, 3:07.85, 3:07, and 85 is what he had to beat. And we'll get the numbers in here at 3:11.87. Fans, we got a new leader. So Evan Pierce gonna storm into that number 1 spot with the Stormer 97 Chevrolet, as move Doug McKee back to the number 2 spot at 3:07.85, the Black Widow Dodge. And we'll put Ben Wildman number 3 at 3:02.63 with the Wild Warrior Chevrolet, as that is our current top 3 here in super modified 4-wheel drive. All right, so we talked a little bit about our Mack trailer track here tonight. Of course, we said out to 360 feet here tonight. As you can see, not a whole lot of runoff room down there, so they're going to keep it at about 360. Now, we talked about the point standings. Of course, all the points go with the pulling vehicle. You'll see sometimes throughout the summer some of these competitors will have different drivers in them, but the points do go with that pulling vehicle. So Steve Barker, the live wire. Steve out of that Cincinnati area, current points leader in this class, as he'll be up next. And another one of those long-time runners here with the super modified 4-wheel drive class, as we'll get the live wire machine fired up. All right, so we'll take Evan Pierce back to the pits after his great run of a 3:11.87 new lead distance marker. We'll move up that marker there over on the sideline. The Kale Marketing leader flag. We'll move that up just a little bit further. As we get ready for Steve Barker to fire up here, we take a look at the track crew just finishing up there with their final groom work. as we'll have the wobble wheel roller out there. You'll notice those rubber tires on that. Use those instead of a steel bladed roller out there. A little bit forgiving with the track. Kind of helps fill those holes in just a little bit better. So we hear in the background, we've got the Barker machine fired up, a live wire. And I'll tell you, this guy, he's done it for so long out on the circuit. Of course, a chassis builder. A lot of these four-wheel drive competitors, they use his chassis. And two-time OSTPA points champion. Also an NTPA points champion back when they ran the super modified class for a couple of years. So this 1957 Chevrolet out of Batavia, Ohio. Now he's going to move that sled back over a little bit closer to that right-hand sideline. Now we saw Evan Pierce kind of a little bit more over to that left side. Not much. I'd say about half a groove. And we'll see if he can get a hold of it here tonight. Steve Barker and the live wire. 1957 Chevrolet. He's going to rock and roll. Oh, what do you think, fans? Did he do it? As it's raining dirt down here, the live wire really kicking it up. So our current points leader, Steve Barker, excellent run. All right, fans, yeah, looks like we're going to stretch it out just a little bit further. 3:15:39, another new leader. So Steve Barker will take over the number one spot here, current points leader here on the OSTPA circuit, as he'll blast into that number one spot here as we've got just a couple more left to go. Guy Shiggleton with the shotgun red, and he'll be followed by Kenny Lucas with the Fantasy. Going to be our two final competitors here in the super modified four-wheel drive competition. Where do you have the, you say the 30-second spots? Are these in here too, or these 30-second spots?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I never paid attention to that. That's all.
I'll look through it.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do. Okay.
I'll ask next time, though.
Okay.
Now that you brought it up.
That'll work. Once again, fans, we gotta thank the folks from SCS Gearbox, super modified four-wheel drive class sponsor. Of course, SCS Gearbox, located in Bellevue, Ohio, is the proud sponsor of the OSTPA super modified four-wheel drive class. SCS Gearbox offers parts for all pulling classes, from naturally aspirated to diesels. Visit their website at scsgearbox.com. All right, so Steve Barker, new leader with that 57 Chevrolet Livewire super modified four-wheel drive, 3:15 and 39. Our lead distance here, Evan Pierce, number two spot with the Stormer at 3:11.87, and then Doug McKee, the Dodge, at 3:07 and 85, the Black Widow here tonight. And of course, fans, we talk about that weight transfer machine out there as it goes down the highway, weighs in right around that 30,000 pound mark, and they'll add those 2,000 pound weights to it. Now here in the super modified four-wheel drive class, looks like we got about 4 or 5 weights in that box. You're looking right at about 45 to 50,000 pounds, what it takes to stop these trucks. So the shotgun red making its way out on the track here, Guy Shiggleton. Now here's a guy years ago used to run super stock four-wheel drive trucks. The old small block super stock trucks, ran those for many, many years. We're moving on up into super modified four-wheel drive competition here. So the shotgun red currently sits number 3 in OSTPA points. Looking to make up some ground here as the season starts to wind down. We get to the month of September here. And of course, those points races are just going to heat up here. And we will see what our second Dodge here tonight in the field's going to do. the truck out of Mineral Wells, West Virginia. The shotgun red Dodge Ram, and of course it's got a Hemi. Got to be right down there in the mix. Oh, 310 and 77. 310 and 77 will be the distance here for Guy Shingleton. We're going to trade out the Dodges here in that number 3 spot as we'll put Guy Shingleton in number 3 spot at 310 and 77 as he will bump out Doug McKee with the Black Widow back to that number 4 spot. So great run right there for Guy Shingleton, the truck out of West Virginia here tonight. As we take a look at our lineup, Kenny Lucas going to be our final competitor here in super modified 4-wheel drive competition. And oh, yeah, it's a good one as well. So he'll be out in just a minute. So once again, we got to thank some of our local sponsors here at the New London Firelands Festival. Of course, we'd like to thank the folks from Miller's Market as well as Millstone Hills Golf Course, Firelands Electronic Cooperative, as well as the American Legion Post 292, Wildcat Diner, Eastman's Funeral Home, and Mark's Excavating and Trucking for helping out here tonight with this great event. As one more super modified 4-wheel drive make its way to the line here, and then we'll have those Wild and Woolly mini rods will be out next. Another great field of those ready to go at it. So Kenny Lucas and the Fantasy, our next super modified 4-wheel drive up to the sled here. Of course, pulling order determined by the luck of the draw. Lowest number goes first, so on and so forth. When you register for your class, you pick a number out, and that's what it is. And like we've seen here tonight, sometimes early number's good for you. Sometimes that later number kind of comes into effect here as that track gets worked in. But just all kind of averages out. We talked about that every now and then. You know, some of the